What's up, Internet? It's Matt at Overkill Woodcraft. And as you can see, I've got a little something different on my workbench today. And I know what you might be wondering. It's a woodworking channel. Why am I talking about, home Wi-Fi security cameras? Am I selling out or something? And the answer to that's no, I'm not selling out. While this might not be as relevant to my channel as, I don't know, like a table saw review, I still think it's pretty relevant to most people because who doesn't want security at their home? Or your detached wood shop, for example. So another thing you might be wondering is, do I even have like the qualifications or experience to talk about something like this? And I believe the answer to that is yes. I've had these type of Wi-Fi cameras on my property for several years now, and I also have a good bit of experience in the security field. Without getting too deep into the weeds of what I did before becoming a full-time woodworker, I spent 10 years in the military, specifically in the emergency management career field. And then I went and I got a bachelor's degree in Homeland Security and Emergency Management. And then I spent 4 years working at various levels of the government in that same field. Now, in that career field, I wasn't out there like installing security systems on buildings or anything like that, but it did make me very well versed in assessing and eliminating threats. And I'll just leave that at that. So, with all that being said, why do I even feel like this is something worth talking about? I've been through kind of a learning process with home security systems, and I've tried out a lot of different brands, and I think I found this works best for me. But at my last property, I was living in the city, I had good internet, and I was able to run one of those closed circuit type of systems, but it required hard wiring the actual cameras. I had to run these wires through my attic and everything. And then, it would record 24/7. And there's obviously some pros to that. But then I moved out to the woods in the middle of nowhere. And when I first got here, I did not have good internet. And it was actually capped. I could only use like 150 gigs a month. So obviously, I could not be recording all the time. So that's when I started looking into different options. I wasn't about to go like I've had ADT and like home security systems and from the professional companies and all that in the past, and they can just get ridiculously expensive. They want to charge you for sensors on every door, and it all just adds up really quick to several $1,000s. And that's usually just kind of covering the basics. So I started looking into different alternatives and stumbled across Wi-Fi cameras. I didn't even know they like existed at first. I thought that the only thing out there was really the cameras that required a SIM card. So I'm not really going to get into the name brands of what I've used in the past or am using now. Those cameras have done their job pretty well. They actually helped me catch a couple trespassers in the past. But it was just time for an upgrade because certain things on them were starting to fail. I was getting a lot more like kind of just false alarms and everything. And I was looking into upgrading, and Reolink reached out. So I figured, hey, this would be a perfect time to do a video on it. Now, what I have here is the Argus Track. Okay, they have a ton of different models, and a lot of them have kind of overlapping capabilities, but then they'll have different features as well. These specifically operate off of Wi-Fi, which is what I wanted. They do have models that operate off of like network SIM cards as well, but there's pros and cons to everything. Okay, with the Wi-Fi, obviously the range is only so far, and you're only going to be able to push these out as good as your Wi-Fi is. Now I'm able to get these quite a ways out from my router, probably 100, 120 feet, and it will still do its job consistently. With those SIM card cameras, I didn't really want that just because you have to get a SIM card for each one, and that can add up. Now, there's also cloud storage available for them as well. But the thing I really like about this camera is it's the PTZ, the pan, tilt, zoom. All right, so it goes all around, it tilts up, it goes down, it goes up, and it zooms in as well, which is pretty awesome, because that could eliminate the need for several more cameras because you're able to cover more area with them. So, a lot of these cameras only have like a certain kind of cone that they'll cover, and these are a true 180 degree. So head is literally on a swivel. Just with the charged battery on these, I've ran them for quite a while with just the charge without the solar panel. And, obviously it's going to depend on the usage, but it lasts an impressive amount of time. But still, no one wants to be out there having to, take these cameras off and charging them up and everything like that. So I like the ability to have a solar panel. Now, what's really been impressive for me with Reolink's cameras here is their software and the ability to like differentiate between a lot of different things, such as people, vehicles, and animals, and just all the different settings that there is. And I'm going to go over all those, but first I'm just going to show you kind of just what's in the box real quick, and I'll run through the install process, and then I'll show you everything you can do with these cameras and how you can modify all those settings, because that's something I really don't feel like I see enough of when I've researched cameras in the past, is how the app runs and performs and everything you can do in there. So that'll hopefully answer a lot of questions. So we'll just get right to it. So in this well-packaged box, you've got pretty much everything you need. Of course, you use your manuals or your quick start guide, sticker. This is a nice little template for, if you had to drill, or if you're going to mount this with by drilling it in, gives you a marking guide for the back of this, which is what the camera itself goes on to. Of course, the camera. I mean, this thing definitely feels solid, like not, not flimsy, not like it's going to break if I drop it. Obviously, I don't want to try that out, but yeah, it definitely does not feel cheap by any means. Then a couple accessories. This is the belt for mounting. I do wish, because, I've got a lot of big trees out on my property, so I do wish that this, fabric or whatever, this strap was a little bit longer. I mean, I'm not going to be able to mount to much with that, but I mean, there's obviously still quite a bit you can mount to with this. So I don't know. I might swap this out for a longer one, but that wouldn't be very expensive. Also, your charging cable, all the mounting hardware you would need. Then for the solar panel, it's pretty similar. Your operation guide, you've got the mounting template right there. Well packaged. It feels like a good quality solar panel. I mean, it's got a little bit of weight to it, so a very long cord, which I like. I can't remember how long exactly the cord is off the top of my head, but plenty long enough for just about any operation. Again, more mounting hardware. Then you've got a plate, which will attach to the back of the mount for the solar panel, and you'll go ahead and thread your strap through the back here, place the 3 screws in, tighten it down, and then that allows you to, have the no drill option, which I like. I like that as an option. So, and then this is pretty cool. It actually has a USB-C to micro USB adapter in here. So, not totally sure why they include this. I didn't really see anything in the manual, but I like that they include that, because to me, I mean, I have other solar panels that are micro USB. So, if one of these breaks, or if I need to use this Reolink for maybe one of my other cameras, then I probably could. So I'll have to try that out. Now, when you're getting ready to hook this up to the app and your Wi-Fi and all that for the first time in advance, I'd recommend doing this ahead of time, unscrewing this back panel right here. It's actually a pretty small Phillips head, and they don't give you a screwdriver. So I would recommend just, making sure you have one that's fairly small. And then this is where you'll go ahead and flip it on and also insert your micro SD card. I believe it accepts up to 128 gigabytes.
Welcome to Reolink. Please install Reolink app and scan the QR code on the camera. Installare l'app Reolink e scansionare il codice QR sulla telecamera.
Yeah, now this is obnoxious. This is why I recommend you have your Wi-Fi information and all that ready to go, because it will do this until you have it hooked up and you go to the next step. So once you finish the setup, you go through, you name it, you create a password, then it just kind of runs through some of these, don't do this, or else you'll probably get a bunch of false positive prompts. And here's just a quick install using those straps, which again is a nice option to have compared to, having to drill and, screw these into something like a tree or a post, or, and then in certain instances that might not even be an option depending on, what you have around. So here I just secured it to one of my support posts for my deck, and it went pretty smoothly, and I was surprised that it actually held it up as well as it did. So let's go ahead and pull up the app. Mine is in dark mode, which is another feature that I like. And if we just go to one of my cameras here, a lot of the times it will by default show both the zoom portion on the bottom, and then it not zoomed in on top. And how you close out one of those, because I mean honestly I'm not really a fan of the split screen or whatever. I just like the full picture, not the zoom. Is you just tap the two phone looking buttons or remote buttons up there, and here you can change between the quality of whether it's just kind of normal picture or the clear like 4K picture. Fluent is the lower quality. I don't know why they have it worded like that. I mean, to me it would just be better if it was like HD or regular. But let's go into some of the settings here. You can mess around with the display a little bit. I mean, you can flip the screen. There's anti-flicker. You can change between whether or not it goes from black and white during the nighttime, or full color, or automatically. Of course, brightness, a lot of just kind of standard stuff. There's even like a cool privacy mask, which I like. Then here under PIR motion sensor, this is one of the cool features that it has. You can choose the option to like reduce false alarms if you're getting a lot of those, and you can change the sensitivity. For a PIR is basically just people. Then for detection alarm, this is what I really like about this. You go under sensitivity, smart detection, and it gives you the options here. So like, for something like a driveway, obviously you'd want vehicles up there pretty high. Or if you're, I don't know, trying to keep an eye on your chicken coop, which I have cameras on my coop, I keep the animal sensitivity for that on pretty high as well. You can also go in and schedule when you do or do not want this thing to record. Then you can break down how long you want it to record for after, it stops tracking, whatever it is it's tracking, whether that's a vehicle or a person. And then you can also choose between like the tracking type, whether or not the camera is actually going to, pan and tilt and zoom, or if it's going to just track whatever it is on the screen itself. So the main difference that I've noticed with that is when you are doing the pan and the tilt, it does take a second for, at least with me and my Wi-Fi, it takes a second for the quality of the image or the video to get back up to high after the camera has been moving. I mean, it's like a split second, and you'll see it in one of the recordings I'll show you here shortly, but it's not really a big deal to me. So that's just something to keep in mind. Then you also have the ability to decide how you want to get the notifications, whether it's on your phone or email. What really stuck out to me is the ability to turn off the spotlight. I personally cannot stand the spotlight on these things, and I feel like the night detection, or excuse me, the display and the recording quality when it's recording at night is just fine without having the spotlight. So for the most part, that's it. There's more I could cover, but those are kind of the big takeaways from me. And like I said, I'm impressed with, all the personalization and, capabilities that this app offers. So here's a couple videos I just wanted to show you real quick that I went ahead and downloaded right after I installed this camera. And as you can see, it's only 720p. I didn't download these in 4K, so don't judge too harshly. But I just wanted to show you how quickly it tracks, and then you can see it does need to adjust the image quality when it's tracking. But if you do that digitally, I don't think that's the case. But what I really wanted to highlight here is that it will pick up on whatever it is, a person, a vehicle, an animal. It will pick up on that even if it's off screen and it's still in that 180 degree, pan or field of view. So I think that's an awesome feature, and it's quick too, which you'll see right here. See, I'm off camera and I start walking, boom, picks me up instantly. So there's like almost no delay. So really impressed, and I don't think it's going to get too much better than that for a Wi-Fi camera, and especially one in this price range. So the last thing I want to mention is their customer service and technical support. I had a couple issues when I was setting these up, or I guess it was after I set them up. I was having issues specifically with getting the recordings to play back, and it turns out it was user error. I just needed to reset them after I hooked them up to my modem. But when I reached out to the customer service support, it was quick. They were friendly, and obviously they were helpful because they resolved my issue. But they told me if this doesn't get resolved, let us know. We'll send you a different one and all of that. So they have a good return policy. I think that's definitely important because I've dealt with companies in the past where that has not been the case. So that was refreshing. So I hope you found this video helpful. It wasn't necessarily meant to sell you specifically on this Reolink Argus track. Although don't get me wrong, I think it's a great camera. I love how many features it has, and I'm surprised by how well it's just continued to perform. So I really don't think you can go wrong with it, especially for the price point. I mean, I think it's on sale right now for like 160 a camera with the solar panel. But don't quote me on that. That's just what I saw recently. But if this doesn't necessarily work for you, like if you needed something, if your Wi-Fi isn't good, for example, and you needed something with a SIM card, they have that. So do your research. Find out what will work best for you. Whether it's something that you're trying to get eyes on your wood shop. I mean, look, like, I know a lot of people don't get into woodworking and DIY projects to become rich, but the fact of the matter is we still usually have quite a bit of money invested into our shops and our tools. So having a little added security on them isn't a bad thing. As always, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Take it easy.